Bulavanaka, Fiji, and welcome to Gold FM Speak Your Mind. Now, today I'm joined by an expert in something that I thought, or I consider, I'm an expert of. But it's all about culinary delights and chow, here we call it in Fiji. But I'm grateful that he accepted in the last minute to appear on the show. Welcome to the show, Chef Robert Oliver.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Now, as in typical Fiji custom, we just discovered that we have a connection.
Yeah, amazing, eh?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Our parents were friends.
Yeah, really close friends. In fact, I have a very strong memory of your mum.
Wow.
She was a firecracker, to say the least.
Now, everyone, I mean, we know that you're a New Zealander, but
Yeah.
you have your roots here in
Oh
Fiji.
no, I grew up here. I mean, it's funny because I've lived all over the world, and I've got pockets of people here and friends there, and one or two here in New York and some in Los Angeles, etc. But here, I seem to know everybody, and it's true what they say that you can leave Fiji, but your spirit stays.
And it stayed all these
Oh yeah,
years.
no, sure. And also my taste buds.
Yes, and that we will touch on right
Yeah,
now. Now,
yeah.
the book, the first, that is not your first. Is that your first cookbook?
The Merkai book was my first cookbook.
Your first
Yeah,
cookbook?
Yeah, it was a long time in coming, but yeah.
An amazing cookbook that it was. It won one of the major cookbook prizes, or one of the most, the biggest, if not the biggest.
Yeah, with the biggest. I mean, it was
biggest.
shocking to me too, and I'm still get goosebumps when I think about it. But it wasn't, it was a surprise in many ways. It was a surprise to the world, really, that this food existed here, this cuisine existed here, and it was, the awareness that it drove has just been amazing. But I was very mindful. I mean, the process of writing that book was really a large group of people around me. Mrs. Iwatimbao in Fiji, and Andi Tafunai in Tonga, and Papiloa Foliaki in Tonga, Andi Tafunai in Samoa. So there was a big group of people who really wanted the story told. So I was very mindful of all them when I went up on stage to get that incredible award.
Now, that book, how long did it take?
Man,
Oh,
I thought it would take me 6 months, but it was 2 years.
2 years.
And it kept growing because I was being published by Random House. And when I sent the first draft in, which was mainly Fiji, they're like, this story's never been told in this big international way. Can you do the rest of the Pacific too? So it just
So it was Random House that suggested that.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, looking back, it was a natural, but
It was.
I came to Fiji because I wanted to do this book about Fiji. And I'd been working in the Caribbean at that time, in tourism, and realizing that the hotels in the Caribbean, they had cookbooks there, but they didn't value their own cuisine a lot. And when you didn't value your cuisine, don't have your local food right on the menu in the hotels, the local farmers miss out on that opportunity. So
You're
yeah.
absolutely right. We
Yeah.
always assume to get other ingredients from
yeah.
other countries.
Well, we always think overseas is better.
We always think that overseas is
But
better.
I knew this because I was brought up here.
I think it's like a third world perception, yeah?
I don't know.
Well, but a lot of farmers must have been very grateful for you in the Caribbean. Now in the Pacific.
Well, we're early days, but I'm working now on a strategy, and it's called agritourism, and it's like the new buzzword in
New
the tourism
buzzword.
world. And there was just a big conference in Nandi that SBC and the EU curated around this, and so I'm now working with SBC on developing kind of a strategy for agritourism for the Pacific regions. That's what I'm doing in Fiji now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what does that involve?
Man, from the cuisine, I'm really coming at it from the cuisine development because that's my strength, of course. So it'll involve giving the chefs the tools they need, getting the cookbooks, getting our stuff out there on the TV around the world, developing awareness in the tourism markets that this food is here, come and ask for it. That was one of the things that's been lacking, is people just didn't know when they came. So they'd ask for fish and chips, fish and chips is everywhere on the menu.
That's right,
yeah.
yes.
That's why.
I mean, if you think Pacific, you're not exactly thinking food. If you're a tourist, you're
Yeah.
thinking more the sunshine and the sea. So
Yeah.
I'm great. This is a great push.
Yeah, and the food is, listen, in the Pacific, the story of the food is the story of the people. It's the same story. So you get more than a plate of food. You get a whole knowledge base around heritage and agriculture and culture. And so it's a big offering, but it also is very much the Pacific relationship with food is very much about sharing and gifting. And that's why hospitality is so natural here. I mean, so it's been a missing piece, but it's, the chef's doing awesome stuff here, all over the place. There's no lack of talent. There's no lack of cuisine. It's just about giving people the right tools.
It's funny that you say that because Miakai is actually it's someone asking someone to come and eat, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
the thing about us.
spirit.
It's the spirit.
The spirit of food is
The
around
spirit
that.
of food, and that's
Yeah.
how you welcome people.
Yeah.
Waikana in
Yeah,
Fiji.
that's right.
And you've encompassed this in that book. And amazing.
Well, I just had to listen. I'm not that smart. I just had to listen to what people.
He's the first guest that actually said that.
But it's more that I documented what was said before me, which was people talking about themselves and their food and the stories. And, food is full of recollection and nostalgia and memento. So, and the gossip.
That's
when
right.
you're cooking
That's
together, you
right.
talk and you trash
Talking.
everybody.
That's way.
So, so it's the whole social nature of food was really what came up for us, and so that's what we documented.
And for the rest of the world to embrace this and take it on, you've got other projects that you've also started with. Well, you've started with you've already completed a second cookbook.
Yeah, I did a book for Samoa because when we won the Gourmand Award for Mekai, the
Okay.
Samoan Prime Minister, I was barely off the stage and he was on the phone to me. So he's quite a visionary guy, and he saw the value in developing a cookbook that kind of captured Samoan cuisine and the essence of the nature of Samoans around food. So at that point, I kind of knew by default what I was doing. So that book came out in 2013, around the same time as my television series did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking about the television series very shortly too, and also what the plans are. Well, your upcoming projects also, and ones that you're doing right now. You've got your plate pretty full
Of good stuff.
of good stuff. But still on the Fiji, but we're jumping all over the place on this. But here in Fiji, you mentioned that you continued work with some of the. Well, those who have, you mentioned Mrs. Siwatimbao, and you've maintained these relationships. And how has this helped you in your...
Oh man, it's kept me on my feet. I mean, there's amazing knowledge here that, and the food, Mrs. Parkinson, I have to say, Susan Parkinson, was so good about telling me what I need to do for Fiji and with my life. It was in my heart, but I hadn't structured it.
Yep.
And when someone that smart and that accomplished says, this is what you're doing, you just know to listen. You just
That's
go ahead
right.
and do it. And Mrs. Siwatimbao has been a similar influence on me, and for a long time, and will continue to be so. But it's also her knowledge, and so I am starting work on a book for Fiji, and with her. So we're co-authoring this project, also with Dr. Tracy Burno, who does all my books with me, who used to be the head of tourism at USP. So it's a nice team. I feel really good about it. And Shiri Ram, of course.
Shiri Ram, of course.
Fiji's own photographer who has just presented the Pacific food and people to the world in such a compelling and heartfelt way. A photograph just accomplishes a lot more than editorial.
Absolutely.
And he's just nailed it.
Well, we'll chat a little bit more about this coming up on Gold FM. Speak Your Mind. You're back on the Culinary Show. That is Gold FM. Speak Your Mind. Yes, I love talking about food, and I've brought a certified expert on food. So, you've got the non-certified opinion, and you've got Chef Robert Oliver on the show. Now, just before we went into the break, we spoke a little about your projects that you are planning to do here in Fiji. Now, you spoke also about working with Suliana Siwatimbao, and a couple of others that will be, and of course, a photographer extraordinaire who has presented the previous cookbook. First of all, a lot of people ask, where's the cookbook available?
Oh, yeah. No, both books.
Both books.
Because the Samoa book is actually doing well here as
That's
well.
right, yes.
They're both available at USP Bookstore, but they're also both available online.
Okay.
You just Google my name and the Pacific Island cookbooks. I'm sure they'll come up. There's a fish pond, which is the Australia New Zealand version of Amazon, basically. But I'd go to USB bookstore because a lot of them are signed. I dropped in there and signed them all.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. See
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
tried to borrow a friend's cookbook who refused to
Oh,
give
you
it
got
to
to
me
buy
because
your own.
they thought that I just wanted to steal it. So now we've got the actual chef here. Perhaps he shall give me the book, but you know what? I'm going to go buy my own
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the projects. Now, you've got this. You've also got a television show.
Yeah, well, that came about when I won the first Gourmand Award, and that was, television goes to everybody. Books go to people who buy books, and books provide the framework and the kind of sensation around the idea, because there's not just the book that comes out. There's all the media around the book.
That's right.
So the television, I just felt we had a great show here, and I met a company in Auckland in New Zealand called Zoomside Productions. And we wanted to make a show about South Pacific food, but I was determined not to be a big chef, one of those celebrity chef types, because this is cultural content. It's not my content. All I'm doing is packaging it up and offering it. So that's how the show came about. It's the real Pacific show. I think most people in Fiji, judging from every taxi driver, every person on the street who talks to me and is so nice and friendly about it, it's very heartwarming to me to get that acknowledgement on the street, because I really do like the show myself, and I also know that it's a show that's about South Pacific people.
That's right.
So, yeah, the show goes to about 8 countries. There's 14 episodes. It's playing in about 40 countries now.
You know what? A lot of the show actually endears itself to people because of the people you are cooking with on the show. The lady from Vanuatu. And the question is, how did you identify these?
Listen, that is I have to hats off to Zoomside Productions out of Auckland. They went ahead, did all the research. It's a lot of work and research goes into doing a show like that, because those characters are often quite elusive. They're often understated.
Because it's amazing.
And also you've got to see who's good on TV. So no, I mean, they did an amazing job.
And out of all of these, did you have a favorite? Did you have?
It's a bit like saying who's your favorite child. There's certain dishes that I like a lot, and I often respond to what the public responds to. So there's a dish in Samoa, which was pork made with coco Samoa with the cocoa. So that
I know that
and
one.
I've seen that, and I also love that I'm seeing the dishes pop up in restaurants everywhere.
That's right. I was going to mention that to you, because a lot of restaurants now offer, if not the same, but similar to the dishes that you've served.
And see, that's where chefs are leaders. That's where their leadership comes in, because they take something that's often quite simple, and then they make their own version of it. But I just want to say one thing about the show. The show is not meant to reversion Pacific cuisine or Fijian cuisine or change anything or anything, because the cuisine is amazing as is. It's just kind of presenting it a little bit differently for the new situation, which is the tourism table. But it's also getting those professional chefs involved. Remember, most of them have been trained in not Pacific cuisine.
That's right.
And they may think, oh, the food that my grandma made, that's not cuisine, but it is cuisine, because cuisine sits right within culture. So that's where the gems are, is when these chefs come up and do their own dishes, and there's recollection, and they're thinking, wow, I can do this. This is my stuff.
That's right.
And that's what I'm trying to catalyze, is that I never want to be a big celebrity chef that's saying, I'm the know-all, I'm in charge of this cuisine. It's just not my story, and it's not my approach. So, it's been a pleasure for me, because I get to work with awesome people everywhere.
That's right, yes. Yeah. And all these dishes, I got to say this, because my family love watching the show. And from what I see of what they also talk about afterwards, there's always the adaptation, like, he doesn't do it that way, he does it this way. But the thing is, it's dishes that Pacific Islanders are familiar with, and are quite happy to see also up on screen.
Yeah,
And feel a little bit of ownership also.
Oh, well, because they do own it.
Yeah.
I want them to feel ownership. Yesterday I got a taxi driver and the guy said to me, all us taxi drivers watch that food, we can make that. Yeah. And there wasn't a sense that it had been played with too much. And that it doesn't need to be, is my very point. It just needs to be, all food has different, all cuisine, great successful cuisines have all these different places they sit on the menu or on the home or the village or anywhere, and there's a little difference between all the formats that they were in because of that. And it's just about stimulating that approach with this, because the food in Fijian homes is extraordinary, just extraordinary.
And the thing is that, like you said, people don't think about it being presented in that way.
Yeah, it doesn't need much, needs very little help. The
Well,
tiniest bit.
you've
Yeah.
got your kitchen rules show.
My
Also.
kitchen rules, yeah. No, I'm a judge on my kitchen rules. Yeah.
And how's that faring for you?
It's a very different show. I really like it. I was a bit of a snob because I was like, when they approached me, I thought, well, this is a big show. This goes to 90 countries and it's prime time and, a million people watch it and, when it goes on. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not as cultural or something. And then I did it and I loved it. I sold out immediately, and actually it is cultural because it is being seen by a million people. And it's got people cooking. And to me, that's a very powerful thing for a show to be doing. It's a competitive reality cooking show. Anyone who doubts the power of those TV shows, you just have to look at your TV guide and they fill
Filled.
prime time. And the Facebook, I mean, we'd have 80, 90, 100,000 Facebook comments from one little thing we said. And so it's really got people engaged. And so I'm very happy to be in that space, actually. And I'm actually, really honored that I was even asked. And what's been awesome is last season, a guy from Atutaki and his Maori wife
Yeah.
were competitors, and they saw that I was a judge, and they were like, okay, he'll understand what we're doing. They weren't even going to do their Pacific Island food until they saw me that I was a judge, and they cooked for me.
Wow.
And it played out very powerfully in front of all of New Zealand. And I got to educate the whole public around these dishes,
Oh,
including
wow.
the judges. So it was beautiful.
Now
Yeah, they
this I gotta
came one
see.
point from winning. Oh, it was, but they won the heart of everyone who was watching the show. And as I said, that show's going to the US. It's going everywhere.
Well, hopefully we'll also get it here in Fiji.
Oh, I'd love you to
because-
get it here. My Kitchen Rules New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be right back on the Gold FM Speak Your Mind with Chef Robert Oliver. Feel free to also call us up in studio, 3220906 and 3220907. You can also send us a Facebook message on Gold FM Fiji or tweet us at Pideli Gold. And, of course, we'll make sure that, any questions or comments you'd like to make, Chef Robert Oliver is here on the show. You're back on Gold FM Speak Your Mind, and we are speaking with Chef Robert Oliver, who is from Fiji. I'm just going to say that. New Zealand can borrow him every now and then, but
You can claim me. That's
right.
fine.
Yes. But food and how Pacific how Pacific dishes have been perceived in the past. A lot of I have to say this for Australia, New Zealand, especially New Zealand, been setting in the past. A lot of emphasis have been made to feel that foods in the Pacific are very fatty, unhealthy, and something your cookbook had done was bring out really great dishes, also healthy dishes. A lot of emphasis on local ingredients, and how do you feel about the way Pacific cultures and Pacific food have changed over the years?
It's a perception. I mean, the Pacific, if you look at the original foods here, it's greens and fruit and fish, seaweeds, the namas, all the coconut. This is the basis for healthy eating.
Right.
And if you walk into a supermarket, it's hard to imagine that anyone's sick here. This should be the healthiest country in the world. Nature is literally throwing health at you. So it's a shame. And the big irony is that there are so many diet-related health
That's
problems
right.
here.
We have the highest rate of NCDs.
Yeah, and it's just a tragedy. But I think the answer's right around us, and it underpins all my work. I understand very well that if we look, we don't have to eat just the old dishes. We can reinterpret them and make them modern. But if we look at what nature offers here, it will keep you well. And I find that I've noticed that a lot of the approaches around addressing NCDs here have been around don't have sugar, don't have salt, Well, let's just celebrate our own cuisine, and all of that's taken care of
That's right.
in that process. So I understand, of course, that we've got to talk about sugar, but let's get into the fun, cooking, local food, get kids cooking. This is kind of hot off the press because I just got this email on the way here, but I've just been offered the role as lead judge on television on a show on Maori television in New Zealand. I think I'm probably the only Pākehā on Maori TV.
Wow. What's the show called?
It's called Maraikai Masters. So it's about and it's a reality cooking show, and it's about people cooking in local food, basically. Wow. And I'm so happy I've been offered that opportunity because it really brings that whole reality format into culture and into this whole notion of health, and not just health, but cultural health and agricultural health and almost spiritual health. Because I think if you're told that your food is not good by the institutions or the colonizers, the food colonizers who have been exporting all these bad products here, I think core is really central to who we are. It's what our mums make us.
That's right.
And it hurts.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And we want it.
Yeah.
we want to eat that stuff that we're brought up on, because that's part of our emotional makeup, as well as nutritional and cultural. It's all one thing. That's who we are.
It's who we are. And if you look at dishes that are being served here in Fiji, who would guess, or if anyone else were to come from some other place, that curry is actually a national dish here in Fiji.
Look at what the Indian community's done for Fiji. They've just made this cuisine alive.
That's right.
It's such a fabulous fusion and a comfortable fusion of cuisines. Fiji is a melting pot. It's one of those. It's the big secret. To me, it's just going to explode once that knowledge is out there in the tourism market, for example, in the world market. People are going to come here for the food.
And I think that's what we're looking towards now. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
the direction. I
know Tourism Fiji is very keen on this, and I know that the Minister of Tourism is keen on this. I know the Minister of Agriculture is keen on it, and I know the Minister of Health is keen on it because I've met with them all. They're all dynamic individuals who fundamentally understand what's best for the country.
When you speak of that, you also we don't realize that how important food is. Not only as culinary taste, but it fulfills our taste buds, but economics. We look at the economics of it with the agricultural the agricultural sector, the ingredients grown right here, and with our farmers.
Yeah,
helping them along too. So we need a lot more of this.
It's ironic that being a chef or being a farmer has somehow been viewed as a low value career choice, because these are if you look at it the way I look at it, chefs can actually be cultural economic leaders.
That's right.
And our farmers, we can't marginalize them because we stop eating. Then they are fundamental to our existence. They're the people that matter the most in many ways. So, I'm just trying to tie it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And magically so that you've done so. It just started off with recording what we already know, and the cookbook, and how that has resonated.
Yeah, it's nothing I've had to invent.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, we're running out of time on the show.
Lovely to be here.
But we're really good. Is there any advice you'd like to give with young, up-and-coming chefs here in Fiji, to be specific?
I would say to them that you don't have to look out of Fiji for your specials or your menus, your inspiration. Everything's right here. I think I've said it a few times, but I understand it's part of a chef's development to want to know techniques, et cetera, from other cultures, but bring it back home.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll always keep it here.
Yeah.
Now, there's. I'm just going to throw this at you. I just before coming on the show, a friend had posted up a picture of kava. Of a kava bar in New York.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, Kava Sutra.
Kava Sutra.
And, you also told me a little story about how someone had served kava on a dish that was presented to you.
It was on My Kitchen Rules.
On My Kitchen Rules?
Yeah.
Can you just tell us really
No,
quick?
they did this amazing dessert plate, and it had like 4 or 5 different small desserts that were either Cook Island or Maori in origin. And it was like a journey through culture. It was so elegant and so delicious, and so you just knew the story. I mean, I knew the story, but I got to tell New Zealand the story. But at the end of it, they had a shot of chilled kava, and all the judges were like, "What's this stuff?" And I was like, "Oh man, it's Yangona." I was so happy. I was like, "Where's the Mbilo?" But how cool to put that in a place like that, in a situation like that. It just shows how everything can flow if you think that way.
And now, because you've traveled you've traveled widely, you've lived in many countries. How do you feel about this kava bars opening up, like, say, in a place like New York?
I don't know. I have to go there. I'm
Yeah.
going there soon, so I will go there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out too.
Yeah.
You'll have to come back on
I
Golden
will.
Film Speak Your
Yeah,
Mind.
awesome.
Thank you again for
Thank
coming on
you.
the show.
Nice to be here.
And good luck to you, and we'll be grateful to hear from you again as soon as you
Awesome.
get back.
Great. Thanks a lot.
And we'll be right back with, well, from cooking to running. Apparently, I will be running in the Suva Marathon. Find out right after this short break. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind. And, well, from talking about food and dreaming about food to reality. Yes, the Suva Marathon is upon us soon. And here to talk about it, it's only natural that we have this young man along. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dwayne Galawak.
Mbola Pedeli.
Now, the Suva Marathon, you're a runner. And you're also involved with, an organization that will be supporting or is part of the Suva Marathon, and it's an environmental group. Now, how does that tie in with running?
Well, Pedeli, the Vatuira Seascape is a campaign to build public support for the protection of land and sea between Viti Levu and Vanua Levu. What we're looking at doing is creating a series of marine managed and marine protected areas in between the two main islands. So when you have Koro, you have Kandavu, not Kandavu, you have Okaya, you have Namenalala, there's Ngau, there's Ovalau, the old capital that's there.
Yes, how could you forget the old capital?
Oh no, can't forget the old capital. One of the big things around conservation is trying to make it relevant to the everyday Fijian, to feel that a sense of ownership. And one of those ways is partnering with the Suva Marathon, that's in its second year now. And so what we're doing is we're partnering up with the Suva Marathon to be the official cause of choice. So when people run the Suva Marathon, you're actually running to support the protection of the Vatuira Seascape.
Okay. Now, the conservation group have involved themselves in other, apart from just the Suva Marathon. You also recently launched a art exhibition.
Yes.
And how did that fare?
That was an interesting process of meeting with over 30 Fijian artists from January this year until the end of June, when, a culmination of 6 months worth of meeting and sitting around the grog bowl and, continuing to develop their art pieces. Some of them did painting oil and acrylic on canvas. Some of them did pieces where they carved on rock slate. This is the caliber of art that's here in our country. Yeah? And so a big part of that was to showcase the raw beauty of the Vatuira Seascape through art, so that when people come through to the Fiji Museum and check it out, and when you're viewing the over 80 pieces that were on display, you're also looking at the kind of environment and the kind of Fiji that you would like to see into the future.
Now, the Suva Marathon, interesting enough also, is being run around the Fiji Museum. So on the day, when is the Suva Marathon again?
8th of August.
The 8th of August. So on the day, you can also, after you've completed your run, you can go and check it out at the museum, yes?
Oh, well, the exhibition has actually finished.
Oh, okay.
But we're working with the Fiji Museum to create a whole month of all the artifacts that they've got there on our voyaging culture and on our maritime artifacts. Like we have something called a lawa nivonu that's used to catch turtles, and these were fishing implements that were used in ancient times that were made out of mangi out of coconut fiber. And it's similar to the modern day fishing net, except the modern day fishing net uses plastic as the net. We also had our own implements pre-colonization, pre-contact with Europeans. And these are some of the things that we'll try to bring out to sort of create a bit of identity and instilling in people that our society is actually quite advanced. And
that's right.
While we might have a lot of these modern things that come our way, and when we go overseas and we see all these beautiful things, also recognize the value of our culture, and that ties in as well with the Suva Marathon, because the Suva Marathon is all about trying to create this culture in the country where we continue to exercise, and it's about wellness. And that ties in with the Vatuira seascape, because we're looking at ensuring that we have sustainable livelihoods into the future for Fijians. Because the Vatuira seascape, the permanent secretary for fisheries commented saying that the Vatuira itself contributes 72 million in revenue to the country.
Wow.
We have over 36,000 visitors that come into the seascape every year. These are tourist dollars that sustain a big part of our industry. So, when we talk about the Vatuira seascape, it's not just about protecting the marine
The actual marine
species.
species.
We're also talking about protecting our Fijian livelihoods. We're also talking about protecting our ability to have food security, to ensure that as we move into the future and as we develop and progress as a nation, that we also have food sources that are sustainable and that are viable into the future.
As much as we know this and we talk about this, sadly, it doesn't. It's quite often it doesn't resonate with the rest of our fellow Fijians, and how important it is to keep and conservation in these areas. We look at the sea, we look at the ocean, we see it as food source or a place to travel.
True.
And perhaps awareness also needs to come, and the onus is also on us as individuals on talking about it too. So I think you've also enlisted a group of people that will also help you in campaigning at the Suva Marathon. I believe our newsreader, Jackie Spade, is also going to be leading this group, yes?
Yes, she is. Jackie, we contacted Jackie Spate and just said, the Suva Marathon will be running on the 8th of August. As part of a collection of about 50 Fijians that will run as part of a big team that go to the Suva Marathon, we'd like her to be one of the people that are quite visible for it. And she outright said yes, she was willing to, and that while she hadn't trained yet for it, she was willing to give it a good go.
That's the spirit. And we've also got Ellen Stevens from FBC TV. I'm grateful because I'm there to just line up the markers, so I'm actually an official. So I'm grateful for, that's my contribution to the Suva Marathon. But Suva Marathon is also involving other organizations and other groups. It's not only your conservation group. There are other groups that are also part of the campaigns that they're bringing to the Suva Marathon. Yes.
Yes. The Suva Marathon is a great platform for all of us as individual Fijians and as a country to get behind these wellness activities that really promote health and well-being in the country. The Suva Marathon has the 10K jog / run / very fast walk.
We'll talk about the different sections real soon because we're running out of time. But very shortly, we'll talk about the different races that are going to be run on the Suva Marathon come Saturday, August the 8th. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind, and we're talking about the Suva Marathon on August the 8th, and in studio with me is Mr. Dwayne Galovaki. Now, he's also a champion marathon runner. Dwayne, you've competed in the first marathon, Suva Marathon last year. How did that fare for you?
Ooh, no comment.
No comment? Well, I could comment about it because I was also there, but I won't. But, okay, we've mentioned the different people that you've also enlisted to promote the campaign on conservation in the Vatuira Passage. And, no, not the Vatuira, but the Vatuira.
Get it right,
the Vatuira. And we've also got the different races that are being run at the Suva Marathon.
Yes.
Now, there's some walking, running. What are the different distances?
Okay, so the first one is the 10K run. So that starts from the Maisuva Park. That's where the starting point will be for the Suva
Is that the full marathon?
No, that's the baby one.
Oh, that's the 10K
baby,
is the baby
yes,
marathon.
the 10K is the baby one. So, if you do it as a fast walk, which is most likely what I'll be doing on the day,
That's right.
you're looking at about an hour and 15 minutes. So, not bad.
Not bad.
But if you hit the finish line and then you suddenly feel a bit adventurous, you can do the 21K.
Okay, so the 21K is the big
No,
marathon.
that's the half marathon.
Okay, that's the half marathon, the 21K.
Yeah.
These races seem to get longer each year.
Ooh, well, the best part is we've signed you up for the 42.2K marathon.
Exceptional.
That's the full marathon that will
Uh-huh.
happen on the 8th.
I can't run without the proper shorts, the proper running gear. So,
Oh, we're getting you a 4-piece set done, Pedeli.
right, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, the marathon also being run, there are people coming in from overseas that are also competing in this. And I believe last time I spoke with a representative from Suva Marathon, we're trying to turn this into a whole international racing event too, apart from the fun aspects, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've run I've jogged, actually, I've fast walked the New Delhi Marathon. I've done the San Francisco one. But the Suva Marathon, I think, it has a personality on its own, and it's a very Fijian event. So while we might be targeting a small percentage to try and make it an international event, the focus remains on ensuring that we have more and more Fijians that come in each year. And you don't have to be, an absolute gym buff
buff.
or a fit fanatic to get into the marathon. Just simply pay your registration fees of $2 if you've got a collection of friends or your workmates from the office, or if you identify with the causes that that we're trying to promote at the Suva Marathon. Bring a whole bunch of your friends, drag them down, and bring them sign up on the 8th and come and run the Suva Marathon.
So if one were to try and want to come and support the campaign, say for instance one that you represent, would they be able to come how do they get a free t-shirt or perhaps or something to identify themselves with the campaign?
Yes, they do actually. As part of the Suva Marathon this year, we have up to 50 runners that will be wearing really cool, sporty Vatuira Seascape t-shirts.
I hope they have it in 3XL.
We have it in 4XL.
Okay, excellent.
So that, those are some of the things. We're providing breakfast for our runners. We've enlisted Milika Tuivanovo, who just returned from the Pacific Games. She's one of our runners as well, and she's actually a field athlete, but she's more than willing to come on board. So we've got a whole great bunch of people that are coming together. Nani Serai Nima, who's the current Miss Hibiscus. She's also passionate about it. She's from Tailevu, which is one of the 4 provinces
Naturally,
in the
it's
seascape.
And one of the most athletic. Yeah.
Yes. So, we're really excited to have her on board. It's a great collaboration between the Suva Marathon and the Vatuira Seascape campaign.
It sounds phenomenal, and we're looking forward to this. There's also going to be fun bits like cheer stations.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I hear that there's going to be different cheer stations at different points.
Yes. We've got the first cheer station that acts also as a hydration point.
That's right.
So if you over-cheered and underhydrated, you can get some boo, or you can get some water or some juice stacked with glucose to keep you powering along during the marathon, and some bananas just to keep your energy up. So that'll be good.
All right. So I'm sure you'll be in charge of that, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. There you go. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. And August 8th?
August 8th.
When is the last time we can get registered? You can get registered.
You can get registered on the morning at the latest. For more information, check out our Facebook and Twitter page or suvamarathon.org.
Thank you very much, Mr. Galobaki, for joining us on the show. And we look forward to seeing you on the starting race. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, and that's the end of the show here for this week. Thank you again for joining us on Gold FM Speak Your Mind, and we'll see you again next week.